Welcome everyone to the 2023-2024 DI year, our very first drop-in of the year. Thanks for joining us. My name is Catherine Carlin. I'm one of the RDs for TVNC region. We have Monica.
I'm also an RD for TVNC and an improv challenge master.
And we have
Margaret O'Connor, and I am the regional training director. And so I have a few things to share tonight.
Perfect. So what we're going to do is the topic tonight, and we'll finish this in about 15 minutes so that we can get to your questions and answers. The topic tonight is getting started. So what we wanted to do is kind of quickly show you our website. So we are Trinity Valley North Central Region. Our website is, you see here, actually it's like tvncdi.org. If you type that in, that's what you'll see. So there's a lot of stuff on the website. And again, the purpose of the regions are to support our teams and our team managers. So if you have questions, make sure you kind of come to us first, because I know it's kind of confusing, and we'll make sure that we get you unconfused before you leave tonight. So this is what our website looks like. There's a couple of things I kind of want to show you as you scroll down. We have a couple of quick start guides. And again, the theme for tonight is getting started. So let's say you're a new team manager, you've purchased, or your school has purchased the team number, and maybe you're waiting for your background check. So you have to do a background check, and you don't have access to any of the materials from Destination Imagination headquarters yet, but there's some things that you could do. So on our website, we have these quick start guides, and our TVNC quick start guide, I just have these up, you could click these, but it kind of takes you through the things that you need to know to get started. It has an intro into the different websites there are, and we'll talk about this in a second. It talks about how to register your team for the tournament, and know that we use the term register. So like in the beginning of the year, you're registering your team with Destination Imagination so that you can get the materials. But in the wintertime, you will register for the actual tournament. And so that's what we're talking about there. And then kind of what some of the trainings are and some of the dates there. There's also a quick start guide from Destination Imagination that I got off of their website. And it talks about, first you purchase the team number. And sometimes school districts, it's the school district that purchases the team number for you. Then you have to have a background check. And once you get the background check approved, then you've got access to the online training and the materials and a whole lot of other kind of good things. But you see how this kind of goes down the list of what you need to do to get started. Sort of housekeeping, technical kind of aspects of that. So then there's a list of contacts. So a lot of the school districts or private schools have what we call district coordinators. So those are people that you can contact for questions. So you can ask them for questions, and they'll have, like, let's say Louisville has they can tell you what Louisville pays for, in terms of, do they pay for the tournament? Do they pay for the materials? But you can get district specific information when you contact these guys. And of course, you can always contact us, and our website or our email address is on the website. As I scroll down here, so in DI, there's like 3 different websites. So this is our region, and our region goes from like Highland Park in the south all the way to Oklahoma in the north, and it goes as far west as Abilene, basically. But almost all of our teams are kind of clustered here around the Metroplex. So this is the kind of information that you can get from our website. And in a moment, Margaret's going to kind of go through some of these things that we have, like I scroll back up here, we have resources. She's going to go through there, but there's a calendar, there's newsletters, and if you miss a newsletters, there's old copies or archived copies of newsletters on that page as well. So there's a lot of good information. Then kind of above us is the Texas DI. So we're part of Texas DI, but there's a Texas DI website. And that's really, you'd only really use that website if your team qualifies for the state tournament. And then there's the Destination Imagination Inc., which is like where you get your team number, where you download the materials. There's clarifications, there's some other things, but that's kind of like where you get that information. And part of that is something called the resource area. So when you first get your, when you first get your team number, let me see if I've got that. You will, how do I say? So when you first get your team number, you have now a login on Destination Imagination. And when you log in, see, like here I am. And so you'll have this dashboard. There's a lot of great things on the dashboard. You get access to online training. And once you get, again, once you've passed your background check, and the way that we do it is that if you have co-team managers, only one of them needs to get a background check, but understand that only the guy with the background check can get access to the materials. But here's where you're going to see the information of like, here's all the team challenges, here's rules of the road, here's a roadmap, instant challenge. So you'll have access to all of this once you have passed your background check. But in the meantime, or once you get your background check, there's a lot of things that you can do, right, Margaret?
There are. Is this where I'm taking over?
This is where you take over.
Great. Okay. So screen 2, perfect. Okay. And you're seeing my screen, and which is exactly what we were just looking at.
Yep.
So we were here on the home screen. If I go to the team resources page, there is, if you don't have your access to all of the Destination Imagination materials for a week or two until that background check comes through, if you're only just getting started and you're waiting for your school district to get you your number and going through that whole process, we have a lot of resources that you can use right from the get-go. You don't have to have a membership number because these are on our website all the time. And then it'll be an area where you can return to throughout the season for more augmenting what is in the roadmap. The roadmap has gotten better and better and better every year. And I looked through the roadmap this year, and there are so many great resources in there. But if you don't have that yet, I mean, that is really your, Catherine calls it the textbook. That's what you'll really be able to use, really from soup to nuts, from A to Z, from the simplest, what is DI about, to the most complex, how do they do the scoring? I mean, literally everything it's all designed to help you week by week by week through, month 1, month 2, month 3. There are timelines, and then it drills in to more specific, you could do this kind of meeting, how to choose a team challenge. There's 3 or 4 meeting ideas about that. So tons and tons there's lots of team building exercises and resources. There are problem solving tools that are in the roadmap. So once you get that, it is a fantastic walk through the year. And the online training has improved year by year by year. So we urge you to take the online training. But like I said, we may be at the point in the season where you don't have access to any of that material yet. And so we have on our website, Team Manager Resources, that we have a whole bunch of instant challenge practice materials that you can use as time goes by. But let's talk about handouts that we have used or documents that we have used in years past when we didn't have a good roadmap, and we did so much of the training ourselves from materials that we developed ourselves or that we pulled from other places. So the couple of things I'm going to point out from the get-go is that in the team meeting help, there are, and this is incredibly tiny. There we go. There are two things that would get you set up to have your first couple of team meetings. The first one is if you have not pulled all the parents together, there is the sample parent meeting agenda. It literally even has a script. Like you can just say, read this, and then sort of talk about Destination Imagination, what you're going to do with your group, do a quick instant challenge, and then have some plain talk with the parents where you can really not only talk about the skills. I mean, at this point, the kids will be like, you know, glazed over, but maybe they can be sitting eating some popcorn and having a juice box in the other room. But you're going to remind them that they need to make a commitment to meeting schedules, to allowing you to work with their children and by your rules, you know, that the team has to be respectful of you and each other. You're going to talk about the timeline for the year. Maybe you're going to enlist some help from somebody who will help you plan snacks, or maybe make follow-up phone calls or be your texter. You may need to collect some money in advance so that you'll have kind of a little bank for the team to be able to get supplies that they need. And you're going to really, really hammer home the concept of no interference. And in fact, down the road, a couple of these drop-ins, we're going to go into real detail on how to know, how to not step over that line. And you want to collect parent information. So that's a really helpful document that's in team meeting help. The other one is literally how to run our very first team meeting. Did it open up? There we go. It is not only what you have to pull together in advance to do this specific meeting, but then it really follows the kind of template that you'll see in the roadmap. But here's one that you can utilize literally, and it's doing an hour and a half meeting, which you may not be doing hour and a half meetings, but this could literally be step by step by step your first meeting or two. This could be 2 meetings worth. So that's it. It's called Help Suggestions for Our First Team Meeting. So right here and now, before you have materials, those would be probably your best bet for how to get started. Then I want to point out to you that we have in the Instant Challenge help, there are many, many resources as we go through the season, but I'm going to point out listening exercises. What you're going to want to do before you ever really try to start specific instant challenges is do some activities that get the kids used to working with each other and these are almost like games. And so they're literally like how to listen to each other, how to kind of get in a rhythm. And you'll see teams at tournament who are literally sitting in the hallway, like focusing in on getting their mojo together, you know? And so there are a number of games in here. And, you know, you've probably played this before. Next year for Halloween, I will be an apple. And the next guy is, I will be an apple or a bandit. I will be an apple or a bandit or a cat. So, you know, you've played that ABC game probably sometime in your life. So there are a variety of games that just get your kids used to working together. There's no points. There's no, structure other than playing the game and getting used to working together as a team. So I wanted to point that one out. And then the fourth thing, and then I don't want to overload you. So the fourth place you could go to look at what we have and what could be helpful is obviously learning to work together as a team. The listening exercises are some fun games. We also have a bunch of team building. There's personality profiling. There's a personality styles, sort of the 4-quadrant thing. But there's also one that is just team building games. And again, it's a variety of games that are, they don't necessarily have a structure with, you must include this, you can't include this, you can't touch materials. It doesn't, most of them don't even have materials. They are just a way to have an activity that has a point of the team being ready to work together and to understand how each other thinks, how we approach problems, who's the loudmouth versus who's the quiet one who figures out that there's something that we're not remembering. And this will give you a real window into how you can help the team work better together. So again, there's teamwork and team building. The listening games are in the Instant Challenge Help, but in Team Meeting Help is where you'll find those first two, like specific how to hold a parent meeting, and then specific how to hold your first meeting or two. So that's what I wanted to point out to you. And then of course, through the season, as we have these drop-ins, we may come back here and show you more materials that'll be helpful as you go along.
Awesome. Thank you, Margaret.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me turn the recording off.